So, Namaste everyone. It's 8 o'clock, so we will start. So we will start with our prayer. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. So today we are going to see the second part of chapter 1. So this is non-grammatical part, or you can say this is the application of grammar part. So it should be little easy and fun. Let's see. So first thing in this, what we are going to do today is Prahelika. It's a riddle. So if you want to enjoy, don't look the answer in book and try to solve your own. Again, no need to tell. If you have some doubt at the end, you can ask. But yeah. So this is the riddle. So koham, it is like kaham, who am I? And this is the code we are using in this. If any noun is there, that will be in green. If any verb is there, that will be written in red. So asti nasti, shiro nasti, bahurasti nirangulihi, nasti padadvayam gadham, angam alingati swayam. So before going further, what happens since language is phonetic and language has evolved from the time when there was no writing. So there are some ways where some sounds which when they are pronounced together, they get fused or they get joined. So that is called as sandhi. Sandhi means joining. So whenever a shloka is written, two things happen. First, you have to satisfy the meter so that it is easy to pronounce or sing and remember. And you should have to limit the number of words. So for meter, what happens that words or the small padam, whatever are there, they get shifted here and there to satisfy the meter. And other words get joined with sandhi to make a single word. So to understand any shloka, first thing is to break the sandhi so that you can figure out what clear words are there in this shloka. Then second thing is to rearrange the words what are there in that particular shloka so that start giving you a meaning like you get in a prose. So neither of these two things we will study in this level because this requires some initial understanding. But without that you will get confused so much. So I am doing it for you for here. Just try to see here. What you have to get is try to see like what different sentences, words are there in this shloka. And at this level, you are not expected to get exact word by word meaning of any shloka. You have to only understand and tell kind of a vague meaning, or you can say sthula meaning, some what your understanding is, not exact grammatical bhava or meaning. So let's go further. So first thing, when we break sandhi rules, then it becomes asthihi, which means bone. Na asti. Asti, if you see now, the color code, if you see, asti is red and na is along with asti. So that's why I am saying this also as part of verb. So not there. Asti, not there. Bone is not there. Now you can understand with shiraha. Shira means head. Na asti. Asti, na asti is again. So head is not there. Bahu. Bahu means your, you can say hands. Asti. So two things are not there. Bone is not there. Head is not there. But it has bahu. Hand it has. But what is there in that head? Nir. So nir is a prefix. Wherever it comes, it says like absence. So like nirmala. So nirmala means, mala means dirt. Nirmala means no dirt. Like that, wherever nir will come, it is like that. So nir angulihi. Anguli means finger. Nir angulihi means no finger. So first line meaning will be bone is there, bone is not there, head is not there, hand is there, but it doesn't have fingers. So next thing comes na asti pada dvayam. Pada means legs, dvayam means two. So na asti means not there, two legs are not there. Gadham, gadham means tightly. Angam, angam means body. Alingati means embrace, embrace or embracing, embraces, present tense. Swayam means self. So overall meaning, if you see, so whatever question is asked, whatever riddle is asked, it is asking that whatever thing is there, it doesn't have any bone, it doesn't have head, it has hands, but it doesn't have any fingers in that hand. It doesn't have two legs, and it tightly hugs you. So what is this? So this is the riddle. So solving riddle anyway you can enjoy, but what our intention was to you should understand what it is. So this is up to you. You try to figure out and do whenever you get time. So next thing is sangrahya vishayaha. So this. So first I will cover what I have made, and after that I will just go through in the book, so that if anything what I am not taking, if you want to understand that also, then that also we can handle. So this is a very famous shloka for Guru. So we'll chant or recite this first. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guruhu Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So few things to see here, maybe everyone knows. So there are some exceptions when you pronounce this Brahma. So the way it is written is Brahma. Ba, ra, and then ha, then ma. But the way it is pronounced is ma pronounced first and ha pronounced after that. So Brahma. And this you know anyway, this is half ra. So it is like this. Now let's see, after splitting the sandhi, now we know like this is a compact form made for suitable for poetry. Now we have to break it in a form where it becomes in a prose form, so that we can understand. So if you see what this ra was there, it was because of sandhi and it went, so it became Guruhu Brahma. Similarly, Guruhu Vishnuhu. Again, Guruhu Devaha Maheshwaraha. Maheshwara is Mahan Ishwara or Maha Ishwara. Guruhu, here there was no sandhi, so Guru was plain. Sakshat Param Brahma. This is Brahma, this is Brahma. This elongation or dirgha is there, and here dirgha is not there. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this Brahma is Chaturmukha Brahma, creator, and this Brahma is that Brahman, whatever we say, supreme soul. So meaning is very clear, everybody knows also, like Guru is Brahma, Guru is Vishnu, Guru is Maheshwara. Means Guru is the creator, Guru is the taking care person, and Guru is the one who can destroy also. Guru himself is the supreme soul. Tasmai, him, that Guru, Shri Gurave Namaha. So to him my salutations are there. So if you see, again thing to notice here, whole shloka is in green. So there are some sentences or poems or shlokas where there is no Kriya Pada. It is because when Kriya Pada is not there, there is a way to assume that there is a verb. Because if Deva is there, you understand who is Deva. So here in this case, Deva is Prathama Purusha, because Deva is not I, not you. So we know like Kriya Pada will be some Pratham Purusha Kriya Pada. So we assume like Deva Maheshwara Deva Asti. So that is called as technically called as Adhyahara. So you will see in shlokas they put only those things which are explicitly required, which you can derive. They omit that thing, and this all is to make everything very compact, because they had this in their mind, like everything people have to put in their head, not in copy computer where they can write big lines. So everything is made like you have to remember. So it should be rhyming and it should be as concise as it can be. So we'll move to second part of this Sangrahya Vishaya. So this again is shloka for Guru. Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So last part, this part is same there. So tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha here also, and here also tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So quarter is already clear. Let's see now how to break it. So this whole thing is one word. So that is why I have kept a dash here. So this is just as of now, don't no need to know what kind of shabda it is. Just see, this is complete shabda. So that is why a dash is there. So it is made of ajnana. Whenever a comes in front of anything, so mostly it negates. So like if dhana is there, then if you say adhana means no money. Dhana means dhan, money. So adhana means no money. Somebody who has no money. Like jnana means knowledge. So ajnana means ignorance. Timir is very deep or pitch dark. Andhasya, that also is darkness. So it is telling that they very deep darkness of ignorance. What happened to that? Jnana, knowledge. If you see this was ignorance, then it is knowledge, because I is not there to negate. Anjan is which we put in eyes, black thing. In Hindi we call it kajal, and I think in English it is kohl. Shalakaya, so there is a needle. Mostly people use golden or some needles, gold needle, to put this black thing in their eyes. So that is called as shalakaya, bai needle. So it is not only needle, it is bai needle. So how the Guru is trying to remove the ignorance? He is putting this anjana, which is kind of knowledge, kind of anjana, using a needle where chakshuhu means eyes. Unmilitam means open. Opposite of this is nimilitam, close. So unmilitam yena, by whom. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So to that Guru I am saluting, or salutations, who had removed all the darkness of ignorance by using by putting this anjana, jnananjana, in my eyes, using this shalaka. So this is the meaning of this shloka. Again, you are not expected at very entry this level to that you should write everything separate. In exam I am telling, if you can understand, it is better. If you can write, that is better, but it is not mandatory. You have to write if you see in your book also, exact meaning will not be written. Some whatever feeling of the shloka is, only that is written. Going forward in level 2, then expectation will change, and then it may ask like you break all those things properly and then write and then try to do. Like that, every level will expect something more. So with this, this part is done. We'll move forward. So now comes the Subhashitam, good sayings. So this is a very powerful, you can say, field of Samskrita, that it has so many good sayings, infinite, you can say, and they all are timeless. They apply to today also. So this particular shloka is written behind speaker's chair in our Lok Sabha Parliament. So, and this shows the Indian way of thinking, Indian philosophy. So let's see what it is. Ayam nijaha paro veti ganana laghu chetasam udar charita nam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. So again we'll try to strip all the other encodings from this shloka. So ayam is like saha, if you remember from last class. Saha, so ayam, he. Nijaha, nija means self, mine. Paraha means others. Va is for or. So this fellow is mine or others. Iti means like this. Ganana, calculation is the direct meaning, but feeling, bhavartha will be this kind of thinking. Laghu means small. Chetasam means buddhi or intellect or mind. So first line is telling this is mine and this is not mine. People with narrow mind think like this. Narrow-minded people everywhere think like this is mine, this is not mine. What a broad-minded people do, that will come in second line. Udar is broad or open. Charitanam. So you can say broad-minded people. Tu is giving the, it's for emphatic uses. So to put some emphasis on Udar Charitanam. Vasudha is earth. Eva only. Kutumbakam, family. So those who are broad-minded, for them whole earth, Vasudha eva, whole earth itself is a family. So total meaning is narrow-minded people everywhere or somewhere or anywhere, they say like this is mine, this is not mine. They differentiate. Where broad-minded people, for them whole earth is their family. I mean to say they have no reason to differentiate between anyone. So because this is Pumlinga, so means it is telling to humans. So with this we'll come to this last part of second section, that is called as Katha. So now you start looking to these words also. If you see Katha, so it is ending in akaranta. So it will be a striling shabda. Prahelika, it is ending in akaranta. So this also will be a striling shabda. So if two prahelikas will be there, you will call them prahelike, together, addressing together. Like we last time we saw bala, bale. If many prahelikas are there, then prahelikah. Similarly, here also katha means one story, kathe means two story, and kathah means many story. So if you see here, this one, sangrahya vishayaha, was the for single. Sangrahya vishayau for two, and sangrahya vishayah for many. So since it may have two or more shlokas, they have named this section like this. So now we'll see our story part. So there are many words which you will not understand, like how they become like this. I think this is intentional, and you should also not try to halt your study or thinking on some word like what it means. Just go with flow. So it will come in some, I would say, I think 4, 5, 5th till 5th chapter you will start understanding most of the thing. So Kashi Nagare. So Nagare, wherever this last comes, it is always tells in at the place. So, but no need to remember. Kashi Nagare, in Kashi city. Ekaha, one. Panditaha. So, yeah, problem is that so many words are there in Sanskrit or our Indian languages which cannot be translated in English. So they are called as non-translatable, or some other fancy word is there for them. So like Panditaha. So who is Pandita, if somebody asks? So no, it is not the person who is born in somebody's house or something like that. There is a kind of field of study, or you can say Vidya, which is called as Panda, means something Adhyatma and all. One who knows that is called as Pandita. But here for translation or for understanding sake, you can take as knowledgeable person. And it is not related to any varna or caste or where he is born. He could be anyone. So Kashi Nagare, in Kashi city, Ekaha, one, Panditaha, Vasati. So again follow this thing. I have done it for you for initial this thing, like which all are verb, you can figure out from the color. And again you can see this ti, tah, anti also you can search. So ti is there here, so you can your own also you can understand like this is a verb. So vasati means live, so to live. So a person, a Pandita was living in Kashi Nagare, in Kashi city. So Pandit Samipam, so near Pandit, near him. Ekaha, one. Shishyaha, student. Agachati. So again you see red color kriya. Ti, it is again telling third person and singular. Gachati means go, going or goes. Agachati means comes. So Gachati and Agachati are opposite. So till now first line is, in Kashi city one knowledgeable person lives. It is not living, it is in present tense, lives. And Pandit Samipam, near him, Ekah Shishya Agachati. Again it is in present tense. One student comes near him. Now Shishya Vadati. Now you see ti and red color. Here start seeing the root word also. It will be most of the places you can figure it out, like vas is the root here, vad is the root here. Here root is little different, but you can say gach might be a root. As of today, gach you can say it's a root, because a is something separate which came, and gachati was there, na? So from there gach was there also. So gach is the root. T and R suffixes and prefixes. So Shishya Vadati. So after reaching to that Pandita, Shishya is speaking now. Acharya. So whenever exclamation is there and this kind of sentence is there where Visarga is not there for Pumlinga, mostly it is a Sambodhana. So you are addressing somebody. So Acharya, O teacher, Vidya Abhyasartham. So here again they are joined. So Vidya Abhyas Artham. Vidya is knowledge, Abhyas practice, Artham means for sake of that. So for sake of learning or to learn, Aham. Aham means I. Agataha. This is past tense. This you will learn later. So I came to learn to you. You can say like this he said. Now Panditaha, now the teacher or Pandita, what he is doing? Prichhati. So, prich means ask. Prich is the root for asking. Ti is somebody is asking. So who is that somebody? Panditaha. Panditaha prichhati. What he is asking? Why he is asking? Shishya means student. Buddhi means intellect or mind. Pariksha means to test, artham means for sake of that. For sake of testing the intellect or mind or logic of that Shishya, Pandita, teacher is asking. Teacher asks. What the question is asking? Vatsa, again Sambodhana. Vatsa, son, Devah, God, Kutra, where, Asti. Asti is again verb. T you can again hear in pronunciation. Son, God is, where is God? Like this question he asked. And what was the reason for that? To test the knowledge or sharpness of Shishya's mind. Now Shishya vadati. Now Shishya is telling or replying. What is replying? Guru. Now you see again addressing is there, but it is in different form. Here you see Acharya, Vatsa. Now here Guru. So you should think yourself why this O came here. It came because the Shabda, whatever the root Pratipadik of this noun is, that is Guru. Guru is a Ukaranta Shabda, ending in U, where these were ending in A. So they are same, where U will be, this fellow will be separate. This is in different way. So Shishya is telling, Devaha Kutra Nasti. So Sharma Mahodaya, I will cover it later once it is done. Good, you shared the question. So Devaha Kutra Nasti, where God is not there. So Kripaya, please, Bhavan is for addressing somebody in front of, but it is third person. You, Eva is for only, you only, Samadhanam, solution, Vadatu. Vadatu is again Kriya, but it is not Ti but Tu, because it's a different mood of the, it's a different mood where you are showing some respect. So please tell, you only tell that where God is not there. So with this counter question, what happened? Santushtaha Guruhu Vadati. Now Guru became satisfied and he is again saying, Vadati, again verb. Devaha, God, Sarvatra, everywhere, Asti, God is everywhere. Devaha, God, Sarvavyapi, omnipresent, he is everywhere, Sarvavyapi. Tvam, you, this is Madhyam Purusha now. Tvam, Buddhiman, you are intelligent. Ataha, therefore, Vidyabhyasartham, for sake of learning, same, Vidyabhyasartham, Atra eva, here only, Atra eva, Vasa. Vasa is for when you are addressing anyone second person, then Vasati, in third person, Pratham Purusha, it is Vasati. When you are saying the same thing in front of you, someone, Madhyam Purusha, then it becomes Vasa. So, you stay here only for sake of or for learning. So, this is the meaning of story. So, nobody did last class homework. That was like no one sent. So, I don't know what happened. But my work is to give you what I feel. So, let's see this time how many replies. So what I would request you all, like you record this story in your own voice. If there is no one in your house who can speak or read Sanskrit, then you record whole story your own. If you have somebody, then you decide like one person becomes Guru and other becomes Shishya and record. Recording is not at all like, doesn't require anything. So please don't give any excuse. You can record and send after the class itself. So this is for that, so that everyone listens the pronunciation, and one part of language is the oral practice. If you just read and read, it will not come. So you have to speak and interact, start thinking into the language. So thinking of that, I am asking you all to do this. So in Vyavaharik Shabdah, there is one section in every chapter. In the first chapter, again, there are some family related words. So that I would request you to learn. If you want to learn all the Vyavaharik Shabdas in one go, or you want to see them, read them in at one place, you can download the workbook that at Sakalyam course page it will be there. And there all the Vyavaharik Shabdas are in some consecutive manner. You can learn them. And there is nothing to explain into that, so that I am not taking that in this. But still, if you need any query, we can do that. And with this, chapter 1 finishes. So I expect you to finish the exercise on Sakalyam also. Because now you don't have anything extra to know to do that exercise. And okay, let's do the book thing. Just give me a second. So, so these are the Vyavaharik Shabdah. So it is Bandhu Vachak Shabdah, means Bandhu is brother, but it is, you can say, family related words. So you can now see Pumling Shabdah. So Shabdah is plural. Shabdah is plural here also plural. Janakah. So it's a Pumlinga because ending in A, means father. Pita. Pita, it is telling, it is, don't get confused that it is a Akaranta and Strilinga. So it is, that is why it is written here Rukarantah. The root word of Pita is Pitru. So that is why it is written Rukarantah. Then Pita Maha, that is grandfather, paternal, Mata Maha. So this you can read. There is nothing to explain, I think. If anything is there, I can explain it. Then comes this Vangmaya Parichaya. So this also is interesting. You read it. If you want a concise notes, again in workbook, concisely it is written like here Vedas are 4. So what is the division? It is divided in 2 ways, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, or in other way, Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka and Upanishad. So this you can read. If you have any question, ask in group or ask personally. And this is your story. So these are the questions in story. After reading the story, you should be able to answer it. Now if I ask you, Panditaha Kutra Vasati. So you should understand the question first. So Vasati means living. Who is living? Panditaha. Kutra means where. Pandita lives where, and it is present tense. Lived is not there. So you will answer Panditaha Kashi Nagare Vasati. As of now, you remove the question part, which will be starting with Ka always. Not always, but most of the time it will start with Ka. So if you remove the Ka part and go back in story, you will get that the sentence like Kashi Nagare Vasati. So the same thing is you have to fill. Pandita Kutra Vasati, Pandita Kashi Nagare Vasati. Pandita Kimartham Prashnam Prichhati. Pandita for what? Kimartham Prashnam question Prichhati asks. So you can say Pandita Shishya Buddhi Parikshartham Prashnam Prichhati. That is again you can see here. Shishya Buddhi Parikshartham Prichhati. Santushtaha Guruhu Ante Kim Vadati. So you see ki, ka, everywhere question thing is starting from ka. So whatever I think in this level, whatever questions will be there, all will start from ka. So you can have that also as a marker. Santushtaha Guruhu Ante Kim Vadati. So Ante what he says? Tvam Buddhiman Ataha Vidyabhyasartham Atraiva Vasa. So this also you can say Tvam Buddhiman you can start from here. Santushtah Guruh Vadati Devah Sarvatra Asti Devah Sarvavyapi Tvam Buddhiman Ataha Vidyabhyasartham Atraiva Vasa. Then comes this. This is, you can say, Vyavhara. So that is what I was telling. One way is this, and other way is record the story and send. So few words are very much we use, and they are always in English, like sir, madam, good morning. I'm not saying you initially it is hard to change, but at least for this class sake, if you can do like hello for hello, the Hari Om is a good meaningful word. Namaste is there. Suprabhatam, good morning. Subh madhyana, good afternoon. Shubha Sandhya, Shubha Ratri, Dhanyavada. All these things are very simple and self-explanatory. You can understand. What my request is, if we can start using, instead of sir and madam, we can start using these words. For okay, we can use this, please, this. So it will be a good practice for you also, and you will get the feel of language. Good thing is, all these words, when you will reach to a level where you will understand grammar, you will see like what meaning, the meaning of the word is very apt, for whatever they are used. They are not random at all. So answer of your riddle is here. You can match it. These all you should be able to do now. So with this, I am done for this part. Now we will discuss the questions of today and for earlier class, means other half chapter of the chapter 1.